Okay, first of all, you always need a pillow when you're working on these. That one I stole off one of the kids. It ain't looking the best, but it made good for a butt cushion for the old ender fender well. Especially if a guy's got the old roids. But anyhow, everybody, I want to tell you something. If you have not seen Vice Grip Garage on YouTube, check the guy out. I thought I was the only one that made names up for stuff and joked the entire time I do anything, but he's a really super guy. He's nice and he knows his stuff. I mean, really, to be honest with you, probably one of the most entertaining shows that I've ever seen, whether it be on HBO or YouTube, whatever. It's very entertaining, and it's fun for the family and all. But everybody has a problem with these timing covers, and I'm going to show you what I do. Call me a heck, call me a hillbilly, whatever you want to call me. So first of all, when you're trying to wedge that thing back in there, everybody wants to drive 2 screwdrivers in the side of that oil pan. If you do that, more than likely it's going to leak, and you could possibly bend the oil pan on back there. The only way that works is if you loosen all the bolts up and just let her come down a little bit. You're going to lose your gasket. I mean, I guarantee I'd lost this gasket. This truck has not been apart since 1974, the year it was put together in. There's a lot of ways to tell that. But I done throwed the old timing gear away that had the old GM fiber crap around the ring of it, like that was going to last. But I'm sure some engineer back then thought it was a bright idea. Let's make a wearing gear so it wears out, breaks, falls into the oil pan. I've ripped them things off there first, guys. I know a lot of people, a lot of my buddies call me and they say, man, my timing gear broke and there's chunks of it down the oil pan. There's a screen on your oil pump. As long as you don't got something crazy and cover that whole screen up, more than likely it's going to be all right. And I'm not telling you not to take your pan off, not telling you nothing like that. You always want to try to keep everything you can out of there. But everybody thinks that the oil in the pan is just as soon as you start it up or whatever, that's what's lubricating the crank. The pan is to hold the oil. When the engine starts, pressure builds, brings the oil up through the motor, and it falls back down. Yeah, your crank is rolling down there in some stuff, but if it didn't fall back down all over the crank, this whole system wouldn't work. They've been building these motors for a long time, and whoever designed it, my hat's off to you, mister. But anyway, I'll show you the notches here in a second that I put in this timing cover. And a lot of people say if you do that, it's going to leak. A lot of guys want to run the AutoZone and buy a new chrome timing cover. If you're going to buy a new chrome timing cover, don't even worry about whether or not it's going to leak or not. If you want a good timing cover, you better order a good one. So, anywho, as the Vice Grip Garage would say, I notched just a little bit out of the corner of that pan, and I'll pop it off there in a minute and show you exactly what I'm talking about. But first, I want to go over the other ways that I do this. Everybody wants to drive those seals in on the ground, in the shop, on a bench, and then try to force this plate back down in here and get it over the pins. Okay? How about this? Why not just put the pan back on and then put a seal in it from out here? Now, Kentmore makes a fancy tool for that. Or you can be like me and just head on up to the plumbing store. You need a 2-inch clean out. That's all that is. Just a Schedule 40 2-inch clean out. And if you look, it's even got a beveled edge on it. I'll be darned. But anyway, look at this. It just really couldn't get any better. I think whoever designed these probably worked on small logs. So anyway, I'm going to keep that seal out of my way so I'm not knocking the top out of it. A lot of people do that. These will leak right here. It'll come out around and then run down and make you think it's leaking out of the bottom. It's not. It's popping out the top because you scarred it. You messed your seal up when you were putting your pan on. So I'm going to install my pan and then drive the seal in there with this daddy right here. Just like you would if that's all you were doing was putting a seal on it if they come into the shop. I think Kentmore's tools like I think you can get a kit of them seal tools for like 80 bucks or something if you get the whole kit. But I'm going to show you real quick my notches, because I have took some of these pans off and said, who did that? Jeez. Well, anyway, you don't get out the old Sawzall on these. Just take a pair of 10 snips. Well, that bolt was forever long. You gotta give them the wiggle. So anyway, as you see, that's about a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8. Give it 3/4 if you feel good about it. Right here, I'll actually probably come back in and I'll probably just take this little corner right here and just give it a 40-degree angle, or whatever you want to call it, just to get rid of that point right there, because that's going to hang you up. Anyway, your seal comes up here. You don't want to take too much surface away from this, because your seal does mount here. You know, it does hold in right here, but it'll be fine. That's not like it's got 50 pounds of oil pressure blasting against all this. That's not how this works. So anyway, it's still on the bottom, and it's still very important. You know, a lot of oil does run up there, but it's still very important that you get a good seal. But as you can see, I'm not taking much, you know. Looks like a guy might have planned that. But when you pull them off, it bends this out just a little bit anyway. So you want to notch her down a little bit. I'm going to clip just the corners off these, just ever so slightly. And then I'll get my seal on, my new seal. I'm going to take my gasket. It's going to be glued to the block. So I'm going to put it on the block, because I don't want it on the pan while I'm banging around and all, whatever. You want to have a couple chisels handy too, if you can. That'll fit up in here. It's going to really help your life, and I'll tell you why in a second. So once you get that thing wedged down in there, and it's kind of nice if you got another guy to come through the top. On these Chevy trucks, I always pop the radiator out in that center bar. It makes your life a lot easier. It's 6 or 8 bolts. You know, you can't do it with the radiator in anyway, because the cam won't come out. But let's get that out of your way. As you can see, I really got through there a lot. So I'll be talking about my timing mark, guys. That's how it's got to be. Just how it's got to be. Anyway, the number 1's up, that dot straight up. When it comes back around, they'll both be lined up. The number 1 will still be up. So, but other than that, we had to do it like that to run through the valves. We couldn't adjust the valves. The number 4 wasn't down the right spot on the lifters when we were adjusting the valves. But anyhow, that's how I do that. And then before I put it back together, I'm going to put that dot up top, and then drop your distributor in on number 1. And you shouldn't have to do it twice. A lot of guys have to do it twice because they leave it dot to dot down here and try to put it back together. If you're on an engine stand, that's going to work for you. You know, trying to get the oil pump shaft to rotate and stuff, get the distributor in, you know, 50-50, it happens. You know, sometimes they go, sometimes they don't. But normally you miss it the first time, and then the guy sticks the old thumbinator in there and whirls her over until it blows the thumb out again. Then he drops it again and gets it, and the reason why is because then that mark's up there. See? So that's got to be on compression. So no matter what position it's in, it's got to be on compression. So anyway, that's how I'm going to do that. I hope this helps somebody. I'm going to keep this under 10 minutes. This is the 74. It's all original. Numbers matching truck. I will do an update when I'm done and do another video. So I hope this helps somebody. But yeah, once you get... Oh, I missed a piece of gasket. What's going wrong with my Ben Franklin's? Okay. But anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Have a good day.